everybody. It's Pete Cospin with LGBTQ Talk Radio here on The Inquiry Show. And I'm here at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Birmingham, Alabama with my new friend, Julie Shim. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm good to be here. Thank you for having me.
And this is just an amazing space. I love how it's just really open to really everybody of all the beliefs. Can you really say to us again what your tagline is? You have this amazing sign, which I'm going to get a picture of before I leave. With that amazing sign, can you say what it again? What's this again?
We honor differences in belief.
That's amazing. And so I think that's really the interesting thing, because I always laugh when people try to put God in a box.
Right.
It's like they think, I've got the one true, and there's
here
nobody
he
else. Yes, here he is, and it's possible for me to be able to contain him in this little human brain of mine, all that is, and this is kind of an amazing thing to me. So, and I'm not really familiar with the faith of the Unitarian Universalists, and you were telling me a little bit about the history. Can you go back over that for us again?
Well, it's really two churches joined in one, that's why it has such a long name, the Unitarians and the Universalists. Now, the Unitarians come from a very long vein of people who, it happened at the Council of Nineveh, and I want to say that was a good 2,500 years before Jesus, in about that time frame. And the power at the time decided that all people must believe in the idea of a Trinity, that they must believe. If they didn't believe in the Trinity and swear to it, then they would be punished or killed. And there was a group of people who said, oh, no, God is one. God is all one. And I don't have to believe in this triptych that you've come up with. It's not our belief, and you can't make us. And, of course, they were mostly murdered, so that was unfortunate for them, but it kind of started off a long line of heretical thinking. They embraced the word heretical, the idea being that they believed in their hearts what they believed, and that wasn't something to be mandated by a government. So that's kind of the very early germination of the Unitarian Church. They tended to, there was a lot of them in New England, especially in the Federalist period. Thomas Jefferson did frequent a Unitarian church on occasion. Benjamin Franklin also went to Unitarian church on occasion. It's not something that they went on about, because even then it wasn't necessarily the smartest thing to say, I'm not a Christian, but that was really the churches that they were. And then it was a Christian church at the time, so forgive me, but it wasn't the mainstream Christian church by any means. But Benjamin Franklin was quoted as saying that he felt in the next 100 years everybody would be a Unitarian. He just thought, this is such a great idea. Surely it's just going to take on, and we do have the Unitarian Universalist Church now has 6,600 churches in the U.S.
Wow, which
is not bad. It's bigger than you might guess, but certainly not. That's not a lot. Just the Presbyterians probably have that, and just the West Coast.
Right.
but still, it's a good number, and we're happy to have it. But I digress. So the Unitarians come from this long line, and there were a lot of them in New England, and you can still see many Unitarian churches, especially in that part of the world. And then there's the Universalist tradition, which is a little bit more, if you know anything about Montessori or Steiner, or people who kind of came out with they were really questioning how we learn Montessori and how we teach children. But in that time period, there was just a lot of talk about sort of early human secularism and transcendental meditations, things like that. Unity Church of Christ is also kind of from that vein of thinking. This idea that we have everything that we need within us, and that maybe there is or isn't a God for us, but we have all that we need in terms of healing and magic, and feeling our way through the world is already within us. And that everybody has their own path, and that they all are valid. Everyone's point of view is something you can learn from in a positive way. So that was more universalism, and then just more and more those two churches found that they were showing up at the same rallies, taking on a lot of the same social causes, and just realized that they would probably have a better voice if they just went ahead and joined forces. So that's what they did. In the mid to late 60s, they had a big, long, several-year series of conferences. And they did consider changing the name to something shorter, but it didn't go. So, but we do tend to call it UU for short. And it's just kind of a cute-ism, but people tend to say either Unitarians or Universalists when they're referring to us, and it just doesn't really matter to us. But yeah, it's all the same thing.
Yeah, it's almost like you kind of discovered that you had two different names, but you were the same animal.
Right.
And like, hey, why don't we?
But both animals wanted to keep their names, so I guess that's why.
I wonder how they decided Unitarian would be first.
I know, right? I was like, how did
that go over?
I guess it comes first in the alphabet, barely.
Maybe.
So maybe, I don't know.
Interesting. And you said that instead of like the cross, that your symbol is a flaming chalice.
Right.
Will you talk to us about the significance of that?
Oh, surely. I love that's one of my favorite things about our faith, because I think that, well, for instance, we just finished our holiday season, and, we try to teach about all the different kinds of faith traditions that have a sort of Christmassy something, something that has to do with winter is coming, and we're trying to celebrate the fact that we're making it through the dark times. And so many different faiths have light as their symbology for that time of year, because it's, usually it's dark and so scary, and you've got lights for Hanukkah, you've got lights for Kwanzaa, you've got lights for Christmas trees. It's just very prevalent in a lot of people's symbologies. But it also, for us, is the idea that our questioning, our desire to find out what there is to know about the universe, whether or not there's a God, whether or not we have a special place, or do we create that special place? I mean, all these things that you think about when you consider philosophy and religion, that itself is a light, that curiosity. And the chalice is meant to represent, we say, the fire of commitment, the warmth of community, and the light of our curiosity. Really. So.
I love that. So you actually, on your altar, you actually have a flaming chalice during your services?
Yeah, we light it at the beginning. It's an oil chalice, and it burns throughout. It's not really like this huge flame, but but it's pretty. And then we extinguish it at the end. It's our. A lot of people who come to our church, I think, we tend to call refugees, meaning that they kind of came through a bad experience with religion. Not by any means is that everybody's experience who comes here. Many people, grew up in the Unitarian Universalist tradition somewhere else. Maybe my husband, for instance, I grew up fundamentalist Baptist, but he grew up in an atheist home. So he did not have the same kind of baggage that I was bringing from what I considered a bad experience. And I think a lot of people who come here who are what we call refugees are a little averse to the ritual sometimes. Like, I don't know. This is, they have an association. And so we aren't really ritual heavy, but we do have a few. And one of them is lighting the chalice. We also have a circle of lights where people get up and express their joys or concerns, and we listen. And, they light a candle for their joy and concern, again with the lights. And we just... what was I going to do about that? I need to tie that in a bow. I'm sorry, what was at the nub of what I was trying to answer for you? Now I've forgotten.
Oh,
I've got nothing on.
Just the significance of the chalice and.
Yeah, and so we. And ritual. So I think that we don't have a lot of ritual, but we do have some, and I hope that it helps to create a positive association. Because I personally think that ritualism is an important part of how humans are. We have been gathering in circles under the moon for many thousands of years. It's just something that we do in a very primal.
Well, there's reasons we have chants and mantras and that type of thing. There's very much a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because it puts you into that space.
Right.
But like you say, some people have a pre-associated thing with those. So there must be kind of a dicey road sometimes to walk on, because that's not exactly what the space you're wanting to bring them back to.
Right.
But you can try, I assume, reframe some of their associations.
We try. Like, for instance, instead of readings from the Bible, we do sometimes have a reading from the Bible, but we have readings from all sorts of different poets and philosophers and
that's amazing.
Great thinkers. Yeah, if you look through our readings, in the back of the hymnal where we read together, there'll be things in there from Rumi, there's things in there from the Dhammapada. There's things in there from Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we read sort of in place of where you would say, oh, now turn to Luke, 2:6, and we'll read together. We're going to read this poem from Rumi together. And, which I love. I love the idea that we're pulling from all of the world's divinely inspired people.
Because the whole concept to me that God stopped talking, 2,000 years ago is just a little alarming to me. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, okay, he hung up the phone and we're not ever going to hear from him again.
Right.
Really?
Like at the idea that at the New Testament, that everything was new and that God wasn't going to have the same sort of personal, deep, like I'm appearing to you in person kind of thing that he did in the Old Testament. I take it as what you mean? Like that whole change in tone.
Well, that too, but then also that, it's, for some people they believe that the Holy Bible is the end all, the do all, the end all,
right.
And there is nothing else past that. And here you are accepting that, but you're also accepting that there can be, I don't want to say necessarily new truths, but new ways of putting it to where, because to me, I've always felt that all religions, as long as they're from love and light, are valid, and it's really, a lot of it's based upon the culture. It's based upon the relevance to you. Somebody that grows up, in India is not going to have the same needs spiritually, possibly, or the same connections that I'm going to have growing up here in America. That just makes sense to me.
Right. Well, you might find comforting, they might not, and
right.
vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it might be very comforting, some of the things that they know that I've never heard before, and vice versa. There might be a new, like, oh,
I never thought about that.
And that's why, to me, there's a special power in the LGBTQ community, because we've never had that framework of this is who you are. We've always had to think outside the box, and we've usually had to think with two different minds. One mind of this is how I really think, and this is what I can actually speak. So we're very much in that space, I think, where we are very open to different ideas and different things. So you're really just speaking my language.
Oh, good.
You're about to get a convert here.
Well, we start at 10:30 on Mondays.
I love this. So how does your hierarchy, I guess I would say, work? So you have a pastor, reverend?
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not every Unitarian Universalist church will opt to have a minister. It sort of depends on, their situation. A very small place with just maybe 30 people, they might just do a lay-led sort of situation where they have, take turns speaking. A little Quaker-like that way. But we are a fairly large Unitarian Universalist church, and we have almost 200 people, and it just made sense for our size, I think, for them to have a minister. Because they've always had one at this particular church. And even though we have a minister, and our particular minister, who is just about to retire, sadly, has huge, amazing personality, and there's a lot of power in that position, but we are very democratic. Everything has to be in committees and discussed a great deal and voted on. I mean, we really don't have a top-down hierarchy. The minister has things to input, and I answer to her, but as a staff member. But in general, the way it works is that we have a board of trustees, we have all our different committees, everything is brought together and voted upon. We have, very in-depth policies and procedures about how we elect people and how we, change our bylaws and things like that. So there's a whole, I always say that we don't really have a hierarchy, we have a process. And that's what we have to sort of trust in, is that our process makes sense. So one of our 7 principles is that everyone gets a voice, or everyone gets a vote, everyone's presence is worthwhile, and that everyone should have a say. So we really try to observe that as much as we can in all of our decision making. It can slow things down,
right?
Obviously, but it's really important to us and to the way it's set up to have everybody, have this be a very communal church, and not. It's definitely not a please tell me what to think situation at all. That's
the main issue I have with organized religion, especially when I'm speaking to somebody, because we're having a lot of issues now, especially up in Tennessee with between the gay and lesbian and the church. And I always tell people, I would love to talk to you, but I want to hear your truth. I don't want to hear somebody else talking out of your mouth, which is so often what I hear. And I just look at the person and I just think, but what is your truth? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
because
all
you
of
can
us,
tell the difference between person's truth and the truth that's been drilled into them to believe.
Yeah, soundbite. That's just kind of
right.
And you're just like, oh god.
Really? Here we go again. Okay, can you just go ahead and get the guy that taught you that to come here, and we can just talk to him?
Oh, it's yeah. I've had some pretty painful conversations with some family members. I'm just like,
yikes!
Really? Okay, well, Trump said that, but I'm just saying,
wow.
and things like that, and you're
Right.
just like, yeah, it's
which I'm just gonna, for me personally, I think I almost would think it'd be kind of fun if Trump won, just to see what the heck kind of mess he would create. He'd be like, okay, let's sit back and watch this. But anyway,
it would be entertaining.
It would be entertaining.
Ah.
But so what I wonder, so the Christian Church has the 10 Commandments. Are your 7 principles? Are they like kind of the same thing to you, or what is that? How's that work?
They're different and the same, I guess. I mean, certainly. Okay, so we have these 7 principles, and they're more like guiding ethical concepts, and they're all in the positive. Like, you are this, or this is great, as opposed to...
So you don't hear the thou shalt not.
There's no thou shalt not. No,
wow.
It's not to say that we would never come down and say, like, we believe, for instance, one of our principles is that every person is worthwhile. So we take that to mean that people in the LGBTQ community are worthwhile and should be treated with dignity, no matter what your feeling about it is, and that honoring someone is very important. So we have, I think, our great principles. I'll do the children's version because that's what I usually do.
Okay.
So we put it to Doe Deer. It goes, 1, each person is worthwhile. 2, be kind in all you do. 3, we help each other learn. 4, and search for what is true. 5, each person gets a vote. 6, build a fair and peaceful world. 7, we take care of the earth, which will bring us back to me and you and you.
Nice. I love that.
Thanks. I think it's pretty cute.
Yeah, it is, and it's very simple, and it makes complete sense.
It's very simple, just these basic, like, I find that anytime I'm looking for some guidance in terms of how should I act now, what's the right action, I think I can run them through that filter.
Wow.
If it passes that, then we're okay. If it doesn't,
wow.
if it means that I'm treating someone without dignity, or I'm not really holding them in kindness in my heart, or, you can, I think you can get a lot of guidance from that, and it's not attached to any particular dogma. It's just these basic ways
principles.
of how to just be.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I like it too, and I like it because, really when you get down to, when you really kind of meet the universe, you find out that the way that you treat another person is really the way you're treating yourself.
That's so true. That's so true.
So,
Yes.
if you're judging or not giving anybody else the value, you're actually doing something in yourself as well. So,
yeah.
Wow, that just makes so much sense to me. I love this. And so, you said there was something about at the very end when you extinguished the flame. And what was that about? Tell me about that again.
We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of commitment, or the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. So yeah, I mean, we have a hymn we called "The Fire of Commitment." At Thanksgiving, I actually gave an address that was all about gratitude for community, because I'm very, very grateful for this community, and I think that most days we say that on our way out, and it's a nice. The children have a version which is. We have hearts that feel and hands that serve. And minds that think. Minds that think and hearts that feel and hands that serve.
Right.
And that's their version of what they say when they're...
That's amazing.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I thought about cried when I have been a music teacher for many years, and I came here and ended up working in the Sunday school program, teaching downstairs, and which we call the religious education program. It's the same thing, but we like to call it that instead. And it sounds more intellectual. And I had a song which was, when I was going to First Baptist Christian School growing up, school and church, our song was, "He's got the whole world in his hands." He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the fishes and all the things. Our version was, "I've got the whole world in my hands." And I just thought that was great.
It is.
I like the idea that you're taking personal responsibility for the earth and the world around you and your actions. And that's to say that there isn't a higher power that can lift you, and is that all things or your community or something else that we can't name. But I like the idea that, your life is in your hands.
Right. And also, is it either Psalms or Proverbs? It says we are gods ourselves. So, we're part of God. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It is taking that back into ourselves as well, realizing that we're all part of all that is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we're getting really spiritual on LGBTQ Talk Radio. That's usually on the other radio station I get really spiritual, but hey, it's my show. I get to say.
He's got the power.
I've got the power. That's right. Right now I've got the power. I love it. It's one of my favorite songs.
Well, now it's going to be my head.
Now it's going to be in your head. Uh-oh. We all have to look it up on YouTube.
Yep.
So So we've really had some great discussion. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about the church, or?
Just that we are a welcoming community, and we have a vibrant, good group of people. I think people find us friendly, and if a little bit ponderous, ponderers,
right.
But we're good, sweet people. I think in general, I really enjoy the people here, and we have an outstanding music program. I mean, fantastic choir. Our accompanist is the premier piano accompanist for the ASO, and he comes and plays. Chip Williams, he's an amazing pianist, and we have just. I think our services are really beautiful and quiet and contemplative, and we have a lot to offer. So come check us out at the top of the mountain at 4300 Hampton Heights, and every Sunday at 10:30.
I love it. And tell me about your music program. So do you have like hymns, or what? How do you?
We do have hymns. We have a hymnal, and some of it is old hymn tunes that have been given new words, but a lot of it is actually original songs that have been brought over the last 50 or 60 years into our hymnal. And, we have everything from very traditional sounding hymn-like chords, but most of our words are going to be about, like we have this wonderful hymn called The Blue Boat Home, and it's all about how we are on this beautiful spaceship that's, in the cosmos that's floating around, and that you're on a boat with your fellow travelers through the universe. And it's we have a lot of songs that are about community and a spiritual feeling and finding peace in the moment. So we have a popular hymn which is called the Meditation Breathing Hymn, and we just sort of mantra it. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. And we just do that over and over again until we find that peaceful place. It's just lovely.
Wow.
Yay.
I really like that. So how can people get in contact with you? Do you have a web address? Or?
We do. UUCBham.org is our website, and you can email us through there. I'm DRE@UUCBham.org. That's Director of Religious Education at the Unitarian Universalist Church, Birmingham. And we also have many Facebook sites. We have one main one for the church if you just Google or just Facebook Unitarian Universalist. We have one for our e-program and one for our small group ministry. We have many small groups that meet and do sort of devotional work together in the evenings. We have one just for our youth. Right now we're offering our Whole Lives Sexuality program, which is a curriculum that we've had for a good 20, 30 years that we developed with the United Church of Christ. And so we both have access to this curriculum, and what it is it's a lifespan curriculum. We do different ages at different times. It goes from kindergarten to 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and it's all talking about how to have a healthy, happy sexual life in age-appropriate ways.
Wow.
How to be safe, how to have a positive experience with your sex life.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, because that's a very important part of our life. It's a great way that we use and transfer energy. And I know for my daughter's friends, the ones whose parents didn't discuss it, they're the craziest kids in college, and the parents that actually openly discussed it, they're the ones that are the most saying about it.
I
So,
think that
just
tends to
saying.
be the case.
Just saying.
Mhm.
It's been my experience.
Because knowledge is power.
Yeah, that's right. And choice.
That's right.
You
That's
know.
right. So we're offering one right now, but we've just started. So, but we'll have more coming in next year. And I think, and you don't have to be a member. You don't have to attend the services to bring your kids to come have rational education about sex.
Wow,
Yeah.
which is I'm really proud because that's a topic, especially in the religious fields or spiritual fields, that people are very timid to to grab hold of.
Sure.
So,
Well, and with good cause. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a tricky thing
Yeah.
to. You want to present it in as possible way as possible.
Mhm.
I think, though, and I feel like our sex ed in this state is, lacking,
Yeah.
to say the least. And
Right.
we want to make sure that that there's this option out there, and it's a great place. We do have some LGBTQ youth, and we're trying to learn more about how to talk about transgender issues. I'm going to a conference later next month, and we're just doing our best to be an open, accepting place using the right nouns and pronouns and
Right.
verbiage.
Which can even be tricky, even if you're in the LGBTQ community.
Yes.
It can be very tricky, even
Yes.
being right in the middle of it.
Okay. I'm
So,
glad I'm not alone in
yes,
feeling that
so,
way.
Right.
Ah.
I think what it is, I think especially for the transgender community, it's at this phase like probably with the homosexual was probably 30 years ago. I mean, like today, if you called me a fag or whatever, I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. It's a word. Use it if that makes you feel special.
Oh.
But for now, I think the transgender community is very touchy, and I get that because that's where they are right now in their transit. And I mean, transition. When I say transition, in their transition of becoming accepted even to themselves. So words are very important. I get that. I totally get that. But I think that later on, it's going to be like, oh, whatever. You call me whatever.
Well, yeah, I hope everybody kind of calms down.
Yes, but I completely understand.
Because there's that moment where you use the wrong one, and then like 3 people are like, no, it's she now, not he, or the other, and you're like, oh.
It can be very tricky.
I've known this person for a while. It's hard to make the switch.
It is.
But it's really important to do your best to honor their
Right.
desire for what they need you to say. I think. I mean, even if it seems a little odd to you or whatever, I just think, go ahead and honor their wishes. It doesn't hurt you anything.
Right.
For some people, that's an ongoing lifetime journey.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to figure out what makes sense for them.
Right.
And for all of us. I mean, I feel like, we need to not keep our sexuality in a box either.
Mm-hmm.
As you get older and you go through different times in your life and you transition to all sorts of everything from becoming a parent to becoming empty nester to all the things you go through in your life. And I think it's nice to give yourself the option of change.
Because that's what life is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been amazing.
Yay!
I appreciate it so much,
I'm
Julie.
so glad you got to come.
Absolutely.
Yay.
And thank y'all for tuning in to the Inquiry Show here on LGBTQ Talk Radio. We've been talking to Julie Shen here at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. We'll talk to you soon.